Hello everyone, my name's Debbie. I'm Mama Bear Stitchery here on Flosstube and over on Instagram, and this is the channel all about cross stitch. In today's episode, which is number 35, I'm gonna give you progress on the things that I've worked on in January and partly a little bit into December too, since my whip parade that I filmed in mid-December, just before Christmas. So speaking of, Happy New Year, or at least I hope it is for everybody so far. January's been a little bit crazy. My daughter Maya broke her thumb at the base of her thumb, so she's almost recovered from that. My other daughter Elena got diagnosed with a soy allergy, and I had my 5th ankle surgery on the 30th of December. The only good side to that was it feels a lot better, and it gave me some enforced rest and lots of stitch time. So lots to show you today, a big old pile. First up, I'm going to show you a FFO. A fully finished object that I have, and actually let me just show you. This is Hippo Reflection. You might have seen I finished this last year. This came back from the framer. I got this framed at Michael's and they did an awesome job. Her name's Katie, who does the framing there for me, and yeah, she's done cross stitch before, so I trust my pieces to her, even though it's nerve-wracking whenever you drop anything off. This is Hippo Reflection by Artecy. It's full coverage, and I worked on this one a lot last year. Yeah, I absolutely love this. He was on the wall. I just remembered to grab him before I started this. And I would love to, and I'm totally stealing this idea from Jessie Marie Does Stuff. I would love to show you a fully finished object every month in a video when I film, because the under the bed box is getting ridiculously full. And not just framing, I really want to learn how to like actually finish things like needle books or ornaments or hoop frames, like that kind of thing. Let me just put this down here. So hopefully you'll see a finish every month, but I don't know. I'm going to try a new year, try new things. So let me show you what else I worked on, and I'm going to start with the finishes. So the first finish I had, and I will put a before picture in here, is Feliz Navidad by Blackbird Designs. This was my very first finish of the year. I was hoping to get this one done before New Year, but like I said, I had surgery and yeah, it didn't quite make it, but I finished it. I think it was like the 1st or the 2nd that I finished this one. And this is by Blackbird Designs, and I used a complete stash floss conversion. I kind of took the original colours and just brightened them up a little bit and used what I had in stash, none are the call for. And it's on 4 count linen in the colour Boardwalk by Colour & Cotton. And I don't know if you can see, I changed, mine doesn't actually say Feliz Navidad, it says Nolig Credel. I think that's how you pronounce it. Google tells me this is how you say Merry Christmas in Scottish. So yeah, that was my first finish for the year. And that, yeah, like Nolig Credel at the bottom that I put in, I just used the letters from the top part of the chart. Nothing fancy. So that was finish number 1 to kick off the new year. And after that, even though I said in my last video I would love to whip down, so you're saying, well, I should replace that with a whip from my stash because I'm doing the 23 and 23, which is part of the Whip Warriors group. So I can only have 23 projects on the go at once. But I didn't. I had a new start. And it was one that I had sitting around for ages. And this is actually a freebie from Plum Street Samplers, and I also finished that one too. So this was my second finish. And this one is called Coffin Buzz, and it's by Plum Street Samplers. And I stitched this one on 32 count Christmas in Williamsburg by Under the Sea Fabrics. And I used a Stitch Stuff company floss called Espresso, which is perfectly fitting for this one. And I used just over 1 skein. I think I maybe 1 strand into the 2nd skein, so I didn't frog much, so yeah, just over 1 skein. I absolutely love this one. And I want to frame this. I have coffee themed cross stitch in my kitchen, so this is going to go on the wall with that one. And yeah, I'll link this is the thread here, Stitch Stuff, and I'll link the shop down below. So you're saying after that, did you pull out a whip? Nope, I had another new start. And this one, oh, still got my needle minder on it. This one, I'll put cover image in here, is called Inordinate Fondness. And this is by someone called Hannah Stitching. And I saw this on Instagram and went and purchased it. I think it's like a Gumroad type of thing, but it's a certain amount. Anyway, I'll link it below if this is your kind of thing. I just love it. It's a Quaker, it's got insects on it. And here is where I am. So this is a lot more stitching than I thought it was going to be. I thought this one would go really fast, but this is on 40 count and I'm using Under the Sea fabric. It's called Ceres or Ceres, C-E-R-E-S. And I don't know if you can see my floss. I am using a Night Stalker calling thread called Calypso. I thought it would look like the kind of iridescent shells that beetles can have. So that's why I picked that one. And this one I only had 2 skeins of it, which is going to be plenty, but I don't know if you've heard before, Night Stalker calling, even within the same dye batch, the threads can be very, very different, just however they dye the threads. So I actually, these look a mess. I actually mixed the 2 skeins that I had together, so I wouldn't notice the difference between the 2 of them, but it's an absolutely fantastic colour. But yeah, they're just mixed them together. And this is just a tag of my kid's t-shirt that I punched a hole in and I was using that. So yeah, that is Inordinate Fondness by Hannah Stitching. I will link where you can get that below if that's something you would like to stitch. The next project that I worked on is Beary Tree. This is another chart by Artecy, and like my hippo, or how I stitched the hippo last year, I'm working on this one a page a month throughout the year. I won't finish it this year because it's 18 pages, so it'll be into the year after, but progress is progress, and you'll see where I was before. And I managed to stitch my page. So here's where I am. Little bears. I can't believe this page I got an entire little bear head there. And you see the ears of the bear underneath. This one is it's so fun to stitch on, to have those big bright like fall colors and then the cute little bears. So next month in February, I'm going to come across here and do the next page here and get his little arms hugging the tree. And this is on 25 count, 1/1 full cross. And the artwork's by Abraham Hunter, and it's the regular size Beary Tree on Artecy. There is an extra large version, but I didn't see a big enough difference in the quality that would make me want to stitch the bigger version. So this one's cute. So this is page 2 of 16. Okay. My next project has no cover image because it's a mystery stitch along, but you can see where I was before. It's the Mystery Halloween Wreath sampler by Frosty Pumpkin Stitchery. And I'm actually up to date with all the parts that have come out so far, and I've kept up to date. Oh, that's where I am. So this is the first 4 parts. And in February we get this part here, which is the other side of the bow, and then I think that makes us halfway, and I think this is the first stitch along that I've actually stayed caught up with the entire time so far. I'm trying not to leave it to the end of the month because that's how I fell behind with other stitch alongs in the past. So I'm trying to, as soon as the part comes out, pick it up within like a day or 2 and just get it stitched. And this is all in DMC, and this is 28 count sterling Picture This Plus, which is actually from Frosty Pumpkin Stitchery, specifically for this stitch along. So when you order from them, you get a really nice big piece that gives you plenty of margin. So I did that. And yeah, this is all in DMC. I love the bright colours. And so I will be picking this one up in the next day or 2 when that next part comes out. Okay, some more full coverage. In Full Coverage Fanatics, one of the events that they have is called By the Numbers, and there's different tier levels of stitching, like 500, 1000, 2000, that kind of thing. So I'm doing the lowest tier. Given my other plans for within a month, I thought I'll just try the lowest amount. If I get more done, that's fine, but no pressure. So I'm doing the 500 tier, but for me, because I'm doing my project in 10 stitch, it's actually 1000. So this is Mini Galaxy Girl by Heaven and Earth Designs. The artwork is by Molly Harrison. And you'll see where I was before and where I got to this month. So I did 1000 stitches and finished out that first page. And this is on 20 count 2/1 10 stitch. So I hope to get some more in this page this month for By the Numbers. This first page had, I feel like it uses every single colour. I was changing threads every couple of stitches, so but yeah, I hope to see some progress getting this one, because I think the third page I get the top of her eye and her forehead, so I really do like working on this one. This is the only one that I'm doing on markup RXP, like on the iPad, because it just kills my battery when I'm working on this one. I last maybe that entire stitching session before I have to charge my iPad. It just drains it so fast. So yeah, all my other full coverages I use paper and highlighter. This is the one I use up on markup XP right now. So that is that. So that will be back out again for February. My next full coverage, I'm doing Whip Go again this year. Hopefully we'll be more successful with it than I was last year. I got about halfway through the year and I fell off. Once I started getting behind, it was just kind of like, I don't want to play catch up. So I just stitched on what I wanted when I wanted. But this year I'm doing Whip Go and I have all my full coverages into the board. I think they're all in there about 3, some are in there 4 times. The ones I'm working on anyway this year. So this is one of the ones that was called for January, and it is Snippet of Lochie. It is a retired chart from Charting Creations, and the artwork is by Helen Clark. And my goal was to finish the page. If my full coverage has a page started, my goal is to finish the page or do one whole other page. So you'll see where I was before. And I met my goal of finishing that first page. Well, the page that I'd started. I filled all this in. So you can see. So I absolutely love this one. I think before I started, I went down so I could get a little bit of his eye, but I'll be glad to start working on this next row and get all his face in when it's pulled again. But I absolutely love this one. And this is 28 count 2/1 10 stitch. And surprisingly, this page here has about 6 or 7 different shades of blue in it. So it was tough going, but I'm glad that big background page is done. So love that one. That didn't get pulled for February though. The other Whip Go project that was pulled for January was Fables. This is a kit by Medusa Dollmaker, and I should say it's a kit by Gecko Rouge, and the artist is Medusa Dollmaker. And so again, my goal was to do a page on this one, and I actually managed it. So you'll see where it was before. And I did this other page. And this is actually one of the ones that isn't a perfect like rectangle. It has like a wiggly border, if you can see. So this isn't perfectly square. So this is the fabric that came with the kit, and it's 28 count, and I'm stitching this 1/1 full cross. But yeah, this was a tough going page. Can you see these white on white background stitches were not fun, but I'm glad the page is done. I love how clear it is, and when this is pulled again, I'll do the other half of the owl's face and then the equivalent of that on this side when it's pulled again. So hopefully this year the whole top row will be done. So that's that one. Speaking of WhipGo, I have my projects that I'm going to work on in February. The first is Feeling Force 2. The artwork is by Sophie Wilkins. I asked her permission to have her work charted, and Kaylee's Tent Stitch did that for me. So this is where I'm starting out from. I just have the first page done. So this one is 2/1 tent stitch on 28 count, and my goal is, when I pick this up at some point this month, is to do the next page over here. So that's a big goal for this month. My other WhipGo call this month was Under the Flowers. This is by Paine Free Crafts. The artist is Marine Loop. And this is where I am starting from. I haven't pulled this one out in forever. This here was when I was experimenting with maybe parking, by stitching it in the columns and then parking. That's not for me. I stitch, well, now I found for me, I like to stitch and color complete per color in the page, and just go cross country style. So this drives me nuts. So my goal is, at the very least, to finish out this page, get rid of all these threads, maybe deal with these at a later date, but definitely finish this page and maybe start another one. But since February is such a short month, I think maybe just finishing here would be a good first goal for picking this one up, because it is on my WhipGo board a couple more times for the year. So that's where I'm starting from. And this one is on 28 count, 2/1 tent stitch again. Okay, my next project is the Winter Wonderland stocking. This is from Stony Creek, and it's from the Christmas in the Woods book, number 480. And I did work on this one in December when I started it. You'll see where I was before. And after I put it down for the holidays, I just couldn't get back into it, so I haven't got much done. So here's where I am. Just a tiny bit, like around the deer and into that lantern. And I'm not one of these people that need to stitch, will only pick things up in season. I think it's just because I worked so hard on the deer that I was kind of a little bit done with it. So I will pick this up again at some point. I think I just need a tiny break from it, but I would like to finish this one this year. And this is on 28 count Mushroom Lagana, and it's all the call for DMC. So that's that one. I just tiny break from it, and I'll pick it back up. I was aiming to have that one finished by March, and that's not going to happen. But by Christmas is my goal. My next big project that I worked on, this one took way longer than I thought it was going to take. This is Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow by Carriage House Samplings. And let me fold this up so you can see what I did, because this project is huge. So this month, I already had the outline of the block in. But I did the entire part of this block. So the Headless Horseman block got done this month. I made this one of my focus projects in some of the challenges for the groups, and just tried to power through that block. It wasn't as hard to stitch as I thought it was going to be. I thought with the edges of the trees and the full coverage grass at the bottom that it was going to be pretty difficult to stitch, but it wasn't that bad. It just took a lot of time because there are a lot of stitches in that tiny little block. And that is on 40 count Highland Heather by Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. And this is another one that I would really, well, I am going to finish this year. I should be positive, I am going to finish this year. And it's stitched all in DMC. So I'm positive I can finish it this year because I only have 3 blocks left. My next block that I'm going to work on is the swamp one that's down here. I actually just started outlining the block when I need some more stitches for something. So yeah, all in DMC. I love the colour. It pops so well in the purple fabric. So it will be a finish this year. It's actually one of the ones that's on Melanie Watkins, the Soulful Stitcher, has a group, and she does the Year of Whips challenge, and you had to declare so many whips, and to achieve the challenge you have to finish half of those by the end of the year, and that's one of the projects I actually put on my Year of Whips, so hopefully I can get it finished. The last project that I worked on in the month was Quaker Turtle by Aury TM. You can see where I was before, and I just worked a little bit on this one. Here's where I am. So this is on For to Count for Doll, the Even Weave by Be Stitch Me. This is probably my favourite fabric. I have quite a few pieces of this, and it is in Gloriana thread Blue Hawaii. And I didn't really have a plan when I picked it up to start stitching on it. I just felt like stitching on it, but I ended up making my goal. I cut 3 lengths of thread, and I thought, slow and steady progress. If I just stitch all that in, it moves it a little bit forward, and then I can put it down. And I think I might do the same again this month, just cut 3 lengths of thread, which is what, 12 strands each, because it's on 40 count. That will get me good slow and steady progress, and hopefully get towards the finish, because this is another project that's actually on my Year of Whips album. But yeah, love this thread, love stitching with Gloriana, and like I said, 40 count for doll is my absolute favorite fabric, so love the combination. So that was the last thing that I worked on. Okay, let me check my notes. Okay, so since I last seen you in December, I attended the Jingle Ball, the virtual retreat by Lindy Stitches, and I think it was 11 other designers, where we had some shopping and you could chat with designers, and there were Zoom rooms, that kind of thing, and it was absolutely fantastic. And you could do it from the comfort of your own home. So I bought some things there, but you can't get them yet. I think you can get them in a year. So I'll show you those after, once I pull them out to work on them. I'm trying to find fabric for some of them. But speaking of Zoom retreats, this past weekend I was at the Acorn Gathering one. It's put on by Acorns and Threads, and it was absolutely fantastic. And it happens in person at the shop in Portland, Oregon, but I'm in Northern California and couldn't make the retreat. So I was very grateful that there's a Zoom option, and it was so good. It was so good. I'll show you. Let me move my pile of stuff over. We got the project just like the people attending the in-person retreat got, and it was actually by Lindy Stitches, Stephanie, and this is what it is. The little bears. I was so excited when I opened this. It's called Snack Bar, and it's little bears and they're acorns, and we got everything to stitch this, including the needle. So we got the 32 count vintage, is it vintage Rose Lugana, that's printed. It's like Vintage Country Mocha. That's the pink version, and it's plain on the back and the printed mottling on the front. We got all the over dies and DMC to stitch it in. And the best part was Stephanie was there and told us her inspiration behind the chart. She sat and stitched on the Zoom as well with us and answered questions. It was absolutely great, and I highly recommend it. Just now, kind of the price of travel, if you have little people to look after or you just can't get up and go to retreats, these Zoom options are a fantastic alternative where you can sort of take part from your home. And later in the year, they're doing the Pacific Northwest Stitchers Retreat, also by Acorns and Threads, and they've said there's going to be a Zoom option too, and the designers are going to be Ink Circles and Satsuma Street. So I will definitely be trying to sign up for the Zoom option for that. Also from the retreat, Kelly Sadola from That's So Calico was also there, and part of her retreat package was a Bitsy Keep and a needle minder as well. So that was great. I've never used one of these, but so I'm excited to use this now that I've showed you. My first Bitsy Keep. And yeah, so I will definitely be signing up for more Zoom retreats, because I do the Black Needle Society Frogworks one too, so that's also coming up. and it just lets you attend these stitchy things without having to travel across America in person. So speaking of Lindy stitches, I got my last Bird Crush Club as well for the year. What is this one? The Red Face Warbler. I love it. It's like she's got like a little bob haircut. And we've got the over-dyed threadworks to go with that. And I'm sad that getting a little bird every month is over, but it was an absolutely fantastic thing to sign up for. And I think she said that they're coming out in market too, so you will be able to get your own Bird Crush clubs. But as a reward for being part of the club for the year, we got this bonus chart called Armchair Ornithologist, and it has a miniature version of all the little birds that we got throughout the year, and a lady with binoculars bird watching in the armchair. So that was cool. A cool little extra. Oh, my pile. Don't judge me. I've filtered some of my stitch stash because it was Christmas. It was my birthday in December. I turned 30. I feel very old. But I filtered some of this out. You don't see all the junk that I bought in the last month and a half. But this came in the other day. It is my fabric of the month from Under the Sea Fabrics. It's called Green Tea. I got a 40 count linen in this one. It's got a good neutral. I'm maybe thinking of putting a chart from the Blue Flower on this one, so I'm gonna leave that out and see if it matches up with some threads. The other thing I got was this one from XJU Designs. It's called Squirrel. It's a 40 count linen. My plan for this one, I ordered it specifically and with purpose, which isn't like me when I'm ordering fabrics. I just kind of usually buy it because it's pretty. This is called Squirrel, and I ordered this from Colleen at Rebel Stitcher Designs, who I highly recommend. My first time ordering, it was posted out the same day, and not just printed a shipping label and it sits there for a while. Like, it actually went out in the mail the same day, and so much so I've actually ordered more fabric from her, and it was the same thing. It went out either the same day or the next game day, like actually shipped out. So highly recommend Rebel Stitcher Designs if you're looking for like fabric or thread. But my plan for this one is the Egypt themed Long Dog Sampler. I can't remember what it's called, but the Egypt themed one. I did have a piece very similar from Be Stitch Me, but it's only a 36 count and doesn't give me a comfortable enough margin. So this is what I'm going to use this for, in either a dark navy or a dark brown floss. So that is Squirrel by XGU. Another thing I got, a lovely lady, and I had to keep the envelope so I would remember, called Cynthia, thought of me and sent me a chart, which was so lovely, and thank you so much. And it's this one from Homespun Collectibles, and the model is stitched on 8 count, and I would love to try that. One of those bigger counts. Is it Michelle who did it with the Prairie Schooler Santas? Michelle McGraw? I would love to do that as a big chunky pillow, because I've never used that high account before, or low account. So yeah, I would love to do that. So I just need to see if that fabric's in stock and put in with my next 1 to 3 order. But Cynthia, thank you so much, because I do love that and I will stitch it. Oh, sorry, I feel out of breath. I feel like I haven't talked this much to anybody, even though I'm talking to myself. I feel like I haven't talked this much for a long time, and yeah. I picked up this. This is by Hands On Design. You see these little flamingos that are made into the hexagons. This is actually in American Patchwork and Quilting, and I just picked mine up at Joann's. But yeah, they're branching out into a little bit of cross stitch. I would love to try and make this. It has really good instructions on how to do this, and like I said, it's by Hands On Design, Kathy Haberman. But I would love to try and do the little hexy flamingos. Maybe you'll see this as a finish later in the year, a fully finished object 1 month. But yeah, I absolutely love that. And it's called Petals and Plumes. It's like cross stitch makes paper, English paper piecing. This I bought myself for my birthday. I've been watching Kelly Animal Instincts on Flosstube. or is that her Instagram name? Kelly from Australia, and Abby Bella Stitch have been stitching this, and yeah, I had to have it. It was Mermaid's Folly. I have one other Courtney collection chart started, the Pelican, that has maybe 100 stitches in it, so you can't even really call that a start, but I absolutely love this, and this was my birthday present to myself. And this is a chunky chart pack. I got mine from Trisha at 3L Threads, but I saw 123 Stitch are either about to sell this, or it's coming soon, or they do actually have it now. So you can get this too. And I'm going to stitch the whole thing all together. And I actually bought my first piece of Fibre on a Whim fabric. It is a 28 count Lugana in the colour Cypress. So I would love to stitch this 1/1. I'm thinking like maybe a really dark green or a brown. Do you want to know how my brain worked? Is, do you know like a stone wall when it comes all sort of like covered in like moss and stuff like that, and it's kind of like green, but you can kind of see the pattern or the engravings if it was underneath? Yeah, that's where my brain went with this. I was kind of going to make this like mossy wall inspired Mermaid's Folly. So that's that. So I will start that at some point this year, but that project is huge. The last thing I got as a buy it now, or actually there's one more thing, was a buy it now on eBay. This little Gold Collections Petite. I don't see this one come up that often, or at least not at like a super reasonable price. It's called Christmas Stories, and it's a little girl reading with Santa. But it's not pre-sorted threads, so I'm going to have to sort those. So yeah, maybe around Christmas time I'll work on that one. Last thing that I think it's the last thing. Yep, last thing in my pile that I have to show you is I got a kit from Luca S. They actually contacted me and said that I could pick out something free from their website up to a certain amount. And other companies have contacted me before and asked me to maybe show their stuff, or do I want something from them, and I've never taken anything before. I've kind of done it as like, if I buy something and I've paid money for it, like I can say my honest opinion if I like it or I don't like it, or the service that I got, whether I liked it or I didn't like it, because I've paid for it. That's just me. It's just me. But this, I do like Luca S. I have some of their other kits already. I've never started one yet, so I actually picked one of the ones that I probably wouldn't have bought otherwise, but I love it, so bear with me till I show you. So I picked this one. It is called Not Forgotten. It is beautiful. I've never bought one of their super full coverage ones before, and so that's why now that I'm big into full coverage stitching, this is why I wanted to try this one. So it was absolutely fantastic. It came with a needle threader and what do you call this? The magnet thing. Needle minder. Brain's not working. So it came with that in the kit. It comes with anchor floss, which is all on little bobbins like this. And it also comes with Zweigart Ada. And what I love about this is it's the pre-gridded stuff, and it does give you instructions in the box to how to wash this out. Oh, there we go. Because I was curious, does it wash out, or because it's full coverage, does it just stay there with this one because it's super pale? But they do give you instructions on how to wash out the grid lines. And the chart is super clear too. So I thought I'd open it and show you. You can see a tiny bit of the chart. You're not going to be able to do anything with that. But this is big size, and you can see how super clear that chart is. Especially if you use paper charts. You probably scan that into some of the programs too. But I highly recommend, if Luca S is something you're looking at, I highly recommend. The kit is really, really good quality, and since then I've actually ordered another Christmas one from them because I really did like the one that they sent, so highly recommend them. And I picked it because I thought it would go with one of the kits that I already have that I've never even opened yet. This one's called Landscape with Poppies. So I thought they would make a good pair on the wall, but this one isn't full coverage and it doesn't have the pre-gridded data because you actually stitch this kind of frame. I've seen online anyway, that you actually stitch this, what looks like the photo frame, because I thought, oh, they just got a painted frame, but no, you actually stitch this part, so that's almost like you're stitching the mat off the picture. So I thought they would go really well together, because this looks like my girls here, so this would be like me in the field picking flowers and they're over here. So I will definitely start one of those this year once I finish my big full coverage dimensions kit. One of those are next on my list. That's all I have. That's all I have. Kicking off the year, Flosstube. I'll be back next month. I will see you at the end of February. Hopefully I can make all the goals that I've set, and I hope you have a good stitching month. But thank you for joining me, and I'll see you at the end of February.